Thank you very much for creating time to speak to us, Jeroen, this morning. First and foremost, we're looking at Africa registering as the biggest when it comes to counterfeit drugs on the continent. As you are in the same docket here delivering innovative medicines, what are you specifically looking at maybe in a way to tackle the same? Just give us a sense on that.
So good morning, good afternoon, Michael. Nice to be here. AstraZeneca takes very seriously the threat of counterfeit medicines. We have a team in our global organization that is supporting us to make sure that inward counterfeit medicines are managed, and we don't support that at all. We're also working closely with pharmaceutical industry associations in Kenya and across Africa to encourage governments to put in place legislation to make sure that trade does not get encouraged or is prevented or stopped.
Again, thank you very much on that one. But now we're looking at a statistic that came out as a challenge in 2017, a study by the Imperial College putting young people there was a tenfold increase that shows obesity in young men and young people over the past 4 decades growing largely. What do you have on the same? What thoughts are there?
Yes, the obesity crisis, unfortunately, in Africa is growing. Not only is obesity a problem, but there are some concomitant problems that arise from obesity in diabetes, hypertension, dyslipidemia, and AstraZeneca, our portfolio naturally fits to manage and help physicians help their patients to support this. We're very strong in the non-communicable diseases arena. Africa has been successful in tackling HIV and malaria. Of course, there's a lot of room to be done there. But now, if people are surviving with HIV, the non-communicable disease becomes a threat, and we are very, very keen to support governments and African populations to manage this. In fact, you mentioned the Healthy Heart Africa initiative. We started that in 2014 in Kenya and then in 2016 in Ethiopia, and this is where we offer blood pressure testing in 675 sites across Kenya and Ethiopia. And if patients are with elevated blood pressure, we have alternative opportunities for them to go into the clinic and get the appropriate treatment.
Now, we did see that you identified over 1 million people living with high blood pressure. But again, when we bring it back to how many actually doctors that we have to serve this number that is quite huge, it's quite low. I mean, we're looking at the sense here with skilled doctors to actually attend to them is meager. What is the conversation that Healthy Hearts Africa is taking to see that actually there can be more maybe doctors to serve the overgrowing number of heart diseases that are growing on the continent?
Correct, Michael. So in addition to supporting the screening in these 675 hospitals in the remote areas of Kenya and Ethiopia, we've also trained to date 5,000 doctors in how they should manage the treatment of the consequences of blood pressure monitoring. So we are doing our bit, and to date 5,000 doctors have been trained by us. Incidentally, we've also screened 5.7 million patients today.
And how exactly do you intend to go up to 10 million people that are living with high blood pressure in Africa by the year 2025? Is this, do you find this feasible enough?
Absolutely. So we will continue growing the number of patients that we screen in Kenya and in Ethiopia, because there are a lot more people that we need to reach. But we also have plans to expand our screening facilities beyond the borders of Kenya and Ethiopia. And we're in 2018, we'll be expanding that into the rest of East Africa to help us achieve the 10 million target of patients.
All right. Jeroen, that is the 10 million target that you're looking at. But when we take a closer look, we're looking at a 1.2 billion young people in the world. That is a quarter of the global population that is related to the most common diseases like linked to habits that are formed during the youth, like smoking and whatsoever. What is being done here to actually curb more of these diseases that are taking space in the young generation that we're looking at today?
So in Kenya, we also have our Young Health Program, where we have partnered with a local NGO to ensure that we educate the youth and the young people around smoking cessation, sex education, the whole sort of gambit of challenges that our youth, particularly in Kenya, are having. And I know that this program also operates beyond the Kenyan borders in Latin America and in Asia. So there is a very strong focus for AstraZeneca to focus on the youth to help them be aware of some of the challenges that they face.
Finally, when we talk innovative medicine, just touch base with this, and maybe this could be the last one. What do you entirely mean by innovative medicines, and how far do you intend to reach in the societies here in Sub-Saharan Africa? What does that entirely have to do with your particular company today?
So absolutely, our CEO has announced to the community that we are only focusing on first-in-class or best-in-class medications, which really require us to focus our R&D capacities on innovation, because we want to achieve that in three key areas: in respiratory medicine, in cardiovascular metabolism disease, and in oncology. And we have plans in Sub-Saharan Africa to make accessible our products in diabetes, in respiratory, and in oncology, in all those three areas.